Welcome to today's exploration of what it truly means to thrive in our later years. The concept of winning at life takes on new dimensions as we age, shifting from external achievements to more profound measures of fulfillment. Today, we'll be examining 6 crucial indicators that demonstrate you're living your best life after 70. But first, let's consider what winning really means in the context of aging. Society often portrays aging as a period of decline, but this perspective misses the extraordinary opportunity for growth, wisdom, and fulfillment that these years can bring. True success in our later decades isn't measured by wealth accumulation or status symbols, but by the quality of our daily experiences and our continued engagement with life. The 6 areas we'll explore today represent dimensions of well-being that research consistently shows contribute to not just longevity, but to genuine life satisfaction. These aren't superficial markers, but profound indicators that you're navigating the journey of aging with grace, resilience, and purpose. As we discuss each sign, I encourage you to reflect on your own life or the lives of older adults you care about. Consider these not as strict benchmarks, but as aspirational qualities that can enhance life at any age. Whether you're already in your 70s, caring for someone who is, or simply planning ahead for your own future, these insights can help shape a vision of aging that's worth striving for. Let's begin our journey through the 6 signs that indicate you're truly winning at life after 70. 1. Maintaining physical activity, the foundation of independence. When we talk about physical activity after 70, we're discussing something far more significant than just exercising to stay in shape. We're talking about preserving your fundamental freedom, the ability to move through the world on your own terms. The changing relationship with movement. The physical vitality that many take for granted in youth becomes increasingly precious with age. Each step taken without pain, each flight of stairs climbed without assistance, each time you can lift a grandchild or carry your own groceries, these are quiet victories that represent true success. What's fascinating about physical activity in later life is how our relationship with movement necessarily evolves. The high-intensity workouts or competitive sports that might have defined fitness in earlier decades often give way to more sustainable practices. This isn't a compromise, but an adaptation, a recognition that different seasons of life call for different approaches to caring for our bodies. Finding your movement practice, the most successful agers develop movement practices that honor their current bodies rather than punishing themselves for not maintaining their youthful capabilities. This might mean replacing running with swimming or water aerobics to reduce impact on aging joints, trading heavy weightlifting for resistance bands or lighter weights with more repetitions, discovering the gentle strength building of Tai Chi or certain forms of yoga, incorporating dance for both physical benefits and social connection, making walking a daily ritual, perhaps with a friend or group for accountability. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Research consistently shows that moderate regular movement provides more benefits for older adults than occasional intense exercise. It's about creating sustainable habits that can be maintained even through the normal fluctuations in energy and health that come with aging. Beyond physical benefits. What's often overlooked in discussions about staying active is how physical movement affects mental health. Regular physical activity has been shown to reduce depression symptoms by up to 30% in older adults, an effect comparable to many medications but without the side effects. There's also the profound connection between physical independence and dignity. Being able to care for your own basic needs, to bathe, dress, and move about without assistance, preserves a sense of autonomy that's deeply connected to self-worth and quality of life. Consider the story of Martha, a 78-year-old who began a simple strength training routine after a fall left her shaken and fearful. 3 times a week, she works with light dumbbells and resistance bands. "I'm stronger now than I was in my 60s, she says. "I can get up from any chair without using my hands, and I recently helped my daughter move furniture. My body feels like it belongs to me again." Martha's experience illustrates that it's never too late to improve physical function. Studies show that even people in their 90s can significantly increase muscle strength through appropriate exercise. The body maintains its remarkable adaptability throughout life. Making it practical. If you're wondering how to incorporate more movement into your life after 70, consider these approaches. 1. Start where you are, not where you think you should be. Choose activities that bring you joy rather than those that feel like punishment. Make social connections part of your movement practice when possible. 4. Focus on functional fitness. Movements that help with everyday activities. Celebrate small improvements rather than comparing yourself to others. Remember that movement doesn't have to be formal exercise. Gardening, dancing in your kitchen, playing with grandchildren, or taking the stairs when possible that all contribute to physical vitality. What matters is breaking the pattern of extended sedentary time that can accelerate physical decline. The goal isn't perfection or achieving specific athletic milestones. It's about creating a sustainable relationship with movement that enhances your independence and joy in daily living. In that sense, simply maintaining a consistent movement practice after 70 is already winning at life. 2. Preserving mental sharpness beyond memory games. Cognitive vitality is as crucial as physical health for quality of life as we age. But preserving mental sharpness involves much more than doing daily crossword puzzles or memory games. Redefining cognitive health. When we discuss mental sharpness after 70, we're talking about maintaining the cognitive functions that allow us to process information, solve problems, make decisions, and communicate effectively. This encompasses processing speed, how quickly we can take in and respond to information; executive function, planning, organizing, and completing tasks; attention, focusing on relevant information while filtering distractions; memory, both short-term working memory and long-term recall; language skills, expressing ourselves and understanding others; visuospatial ability, navigating spaces and visualizing concepts; emotional regulation and emotionen, managing our responses to life's challenges. What's remarkable is that while some decline in processing speed is normal with age, many aspects of cognition can remain stable or even improve over time. Vocabulary, general knowledge, wisdom, and emotional intelligence often continue to develop well into our 70s and beyond. The science of cognitive reserve research has identified the concept of cognitive reserve, the brain's resilience against decline, even when facing physical changes associated with aging or disease. People with greater cognitive reserve can maintain function despite physical changes in the brain that might cause significant impairment in others. Building cognitive reserve throughout life involves higher levels of education and lifelong learning, occupational complexity and challenge, rich social networks and engagement, novel experiences that create new neural pathways, multilingualism and musical training, physical exercise that increases blood flow to the brain. It's never too late to enhance your cognitive reserve. Studies show that learning new skills in your 70s and beyond can significantly improve cognitive function across multiple domains. Beyond brain games. While puzzles and brain games have their place, research suggests that activities involving multiple skill sets simultaneously provide greater cognitive benefits. Consider these more comprehensive approaches to mental fitness. Learning a musical instrument, which engages motor skills, memory, and mathematical thinking. Taking up digital photography, combining technical learning with artistic expression. Studying a new language, which has been shown to delay dementia symptoms by up to 4.5 years. Joining a book club that combines reading with social discussion and debate. Learning to dance, which incorporates physical movement, memorization, rhythm, and social interaction. And Dr. Robert Wilson, who studies cognitive aging at Rush University Medical Center, suggests that the ideal cognitive activities are those that are novel, challenging, and engaging. The brain responds to demand, he explains. When we ask more of it, it tends to deliver. Embracing technology. One marker of cognitive flexibility in older adults is the willingness to engage with new technologies. Those who approach unfamiliar tech with curiosity rather than fear maintain neural plasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections. Consider Bernard, an 83-year-old former accountant who initially resisted smartphones. When his grandchildren moved across the country, he reluctantly learned to use video calling. This opened the door to other applications, and he now manages his investments, tracks his health metrics, and reads extensively on his tablet. My friends who refuse to try these things are missing out, he says. Yes, there's a learning curve, but that's good for the brain. The most successful agers approach technology as an opportunity rather than a threat, recognizing that each new platform mastered represents a victory for cognitive flexibility, intellectual curiosity, and open-mindedness. Perhaps the most powerful indicator of cognitive health after 70 is maintaining genuine intellectual curiosity. This manifests as being open to changing long-held opinions when presented with new evidence, seeking out perspectives different from your own, asking questions rather than assuming you already know all the answers, following current events and trying to understand complex social issues, engaging with art, literature, and ideas outside your comfort zone. This kind of intellectual openness becomes increasingly rare and therefore increasingly valuable as we age. It represents not just cognitive health, but emotional and spiritual maturity as well. When you remain intellectually engaged after 70, you're not just preserving your cognitive function. You're modeling for younger generations what lifelong growth looks like. This contribution alone represents a significant way of winning at life. 3. Nurturing meaningful relationships, quality over quantity. As we navigate our later years, the relationships we maintain become increasingly central to our quality of life. Research consistently shows that strong social connections are as important to longevity as quitting smoking or maintaining a healthy weight. The shifting social landscape. The social landscape naturally changes as we age. Retirement may distance us from work colleagues, friends and family members may pass away or move far away, and health limitations might make certain social activities more challenging. These transitions can create vulnerability to isolation. However, the most successful agers don't merely accept social contraction as inevitable. They actively reconfigure their social worlds, often becoming more intentional about their relationships than they were in earlier decades. The power of deep connection. While younger adults often prioritize expanding their social networks, those thriving after 70 typically focus on deepening their most meaningful connections. This quality over quantity approach reflects both preference and wisdom. Laura Carstenson's socio-emotional selectivity theory explains that as we perceive our time horizon shortening, we naturally become more selective about how we spend our social energy. This isn't a limitation, but an adaptive strategy that allows us to invest in relationships that provide the greatest emotional satisfaction. Research from the Harvard Study of Adult Development, which has followed participants for over 80 years, found that the quality of close relationships was the strongest predictor of both happiness and health in later life. Director Dr. Robert Waldinger summarizes, "Good relationships don't just protect our bodies, they protect our brains." Diverse social connections. While close family relationships are often central for older adults, those who thrive typically maintain diverse social connections that might include long-term friendships that carry shared history and understanding, family relationships across generations, community connections through religious organizations, clubs, or volunteer work. Activity-based friendships are centered around shared interests. Newer friendships that bring fresh perspectives. Supportive professional relationships with healthcare providers and service professionals. Each type of relationship serves different needs and provides various forms of support. This diversity creates resilience in your social network, ensuring that if one relationship becomes unavailable, others can help meet your needs for connection. Intergenerational relationships. Particularly valuable are intergenerational relationships, which provide unique benefits. Connections with younger people offer exposure to new ideas, technological assistance, physical help when needed, and the satisfaction of sharing accumulated wisdom. Consider Eleanor, 76, who volunteers weekly at an elementary school reading program. "The children keep me current," she says. "They tell me about music and movies I'd never discover otherwise. And they ask such profound questions about the stories we read. I leave each session feeling energized and valued." These cross-generational connections benefit both parties. Younger people gain perspective and wisdom, while older adults experience the cognitive stimulation of fresh viewpoints and the emotional reward of mentoring. Navigating relationship challenges. Maintaining relationships after 70 can involve unique challenges. Hearing loss can make group conversations difficult to follow. Limited mobility might make social gatherings harder to attend. Memory issues can create anxiety about social interactions. The loss of contemporaries who share your reference points and experiences. Geographic distance from family members. Those who thrive socially don't allow these challenges to determine their relationship fate. They adapt by using technology like hearing aids, video calls, or social media to bridge gaps, suggesting one-on-one conversations in quiet settings rather than large gatherings, hosting gatherings at their homes when mobility is an issue, being upfront about memory challenges rather than withdrawing from social life, creating new friendship circles when longtime friends are no longer available. The willingness to adapt social strategies while maintaining the priority of connection is a hallmark of those winning at life after 70. Giving and receiving healthy relationships in later life involve both giving and receiving support. Some older adults struggle with accepting help, viewing it as a loss of independence. However, those thriving after 70 recognize interdependence as the human condition at every age. The most fulfilling relationships involve reciprocity appropriate to each person's capabilities. You might not be able to help your neighbor with physical tasks as you once did, but you can offer emotional support, share your experience, or simply provide attentive listening. Finding ways to continue contributing to others' lives, even as you accept increased support, maintains dignity and purpose. When you've created and maintained a network of meaningful connections that provide both support and opportunities to contribute after 70, you've mastered one of life's most important skills. This achievement represents winning at life in a profound way. 4. Maintaining purpose and direction. Beyond retirement. Perhaps nothing distinguishes those truly thriving after 70 from those merely existing more than having a clear sense of purpose. Purpose provides context for daily activities, resilience during challenges, and a reason to engage fully with life. Redefining purpose after career. For many people, career provides a ready-made purpose for decades. Retirement, while offering freedom, also removes this built-in source of meaning and direction. Those who thrive after 70 have either transferred their sense of purpose to new domains or discovered entirely new sources of meaning. This transition requires both reflection and experimentation. It involves asking fundamental questions. What has always mattered deeply to me beyond my work identity? What difference do I want to make in the time I have left? What brings me joy and engages my unique strengths and interests? Where am I needed in my family or community? The answers lead to diverse paths. Some discover purpose through volunteerism, others through creative pursuits, family contributions, advocacy work, spiritual development, or continued professional engagement in modified forms. The many faces of purpose. Purpose after 70 takes countless forms. Consider these examples. James, 74, retired from teaching high school chemistry. He now tutors disadvantaged students preparing for college entrance exams. I'm helping kids who remind me of myself, bright but without resources or guidance. Each student who gets into college with a scholarship feels like my personal victory. Sophia, 77, transformed her lifelong gardening hobby into a community project, creating a neighborhood garden where she teaches children about growing food. Seeing as these urban kids understand where food comes from and taste vegetables they've grown themselves gives me enormous satisfaction. I'm passing on knowledge that shouldn't be lost. Robert, 82, serves as the unofficial historian of his community, documenting stories and photographs of local history before they're lost. Every elder who shares their memories with me is preserving something precious for future generations. I'm the conduit for that transmission. Maria, 72, cares for her husband with Alzheimer's. This isn't the retirement we planned, but there's deep purpose in being his advocate and keeping him comfortable and dignified. Our love story continues, just in a different form than we expected. What these diverse examples share is that purpose isn't necessarily grand or public to be meaningful. It can be quiet, private, and still profound in its impact. The science of purpose research consistently shows that having purpose correlates with numerous health benefits, including reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease and cognitive impairment, lower rates of cardiovascular disease, better sleep quality, reduced stress and inflammation markers. Longer lifespan, one study found those with high purpose scores lived about 7 years longer. Dr. Patricia Boyle of Rush University Medical Center, who studies purpose in aging, notes, purpose is such a powerful factor because it integrates and organizes your life. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning and a lens through which to make decisions. Finding purpose when circumstances change. One of the greatest challenges in maintaining purpose after 70 is adapting when health or circumstances change. The person who found meaning in international volunteer work might face mobility limitations. The grandparent deeply involved in childcare might have family move across the country. Those who thrive don't abandon the need for purpose when their initial path becomes unavailable. Instead, they adapt, finding new expressions of their core values that accommodate their current realities. Consider Thomas, 79, who was devastated when macular degeneration ended his woodworking hobby. After a period of grief, he connected with a local organization that paired him with aspiring young craftspeople. I can't do the detailed work anymore, but I can guide someone else's hands and share everything I know. In some ways, it's more satisfying than working alone ever was. This flexibility, maintaining commitment to purpose while adapting its expression, demonstrates remarkable resilience and wisdom. Everyday purpose doesn't require formal programs or grand initiatives. It can manifest in daily choices and attitudes. Being the person who remembers birthdays and milestones in your family, maintaining traditions that connect generations, creating beauty through gardening, cooking, or other domestic arts, being fully present with friends and family members when they need support, modeling positive values for younger generations, practicing stewardship of resources, whether financial or environmental. These seemingly small contributions create ripples of positive impact that extend far beyond what we can see. When you maintain a clear sense of purpose after 70, whether through formal engagements or daily intentional living, you demonstrate that this stage of life can be about more than leisure or mere maintenance. You show that the later years can be among the most meaningful and contributive of an entire lifetime. This represents winning at life in a profound way. 5. Embracing continuous growth. The lifelong learner's advantage. The commitment to ongoing growth and learning stands as one of the clearest indicators of thriving after 70. This mindset transforms aging from a period of decline into an ongoing adventure of discovery and development. The growth mindset. At any age, Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's research on mindset has profound implications for aging. Those with a fixed mindset believe that abilities are mostly innate and unchangeable, while those with a growth mindset understand that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This distinction becomes increasingly significant with age. Those who believe they can continue developing new skills and capacities approach their later years with curiosity rather than resignation. They see challenges as opportunities rather than threats, and setbacks as temporary rather than defining. The growth mindset manifests in statements like, "I haven't learned that yet," rather than "I'm too old to learn that." "This is difficult right now," rather than "I'll never be able to do this." "I need a different approach," rather than "I'm just not good at this." This perspective creates resilience and maillage that enhance quality of life regardless of circumstances. Learning as brain maintenance neuroscience has revealed that the brain remains plastic, capable of forming new connections and pathways throughout life. This neuroplasticity responds powerfully to learning challenges, with studies showing that acquiring new skills creates structural changes in the brain, even in people in their 80s and 90s. Dr. Michael Merzenich, a pioneer in neuroplasticity research, suggests that challenging mental activities are not optional but necessary for brain health. It's not about maintaining function, but about continuous development. The brain operates under a use it or lose it principle at every age. The integration of experience. What makes learning in later life uniquely powerful is the integration of new knowledge with decades of lived experience. While younger learners might acquire technical skills more quickly, older learners excel at connecting new information with existing knowledge and recognizing broader patterns and implications. A 25-year-old might learn Spanish vocabulary faster, but a 75-year-old brings perspective about language patterns from prior language learning, cultural context from travel or reading, and patience developed through decades of other learning experiences. This integration creates wisdom, the ability to see connections between seemingly disparate areas and apply relevant experience to new situations. It's a form of intelligence that can only develop through the combination of ongoing curiosity with extensive life experience. Learning through adversity. Perhaps the most profound growth after 70 comes not from formal education, but from navigating life's challenges with reflection and openness. Health setbacks, losses, and transitions can become either crushing blows or opportunities for development, depending largely on mindset. Those who thrive view difficulties as opportunities to develop deeper patience, compassion, acceptance, or other qualities. They ask, what can I learn from this experience? How might this challenge help me grow as a person? Consider Walter, 84, reflecting on his recovery from a stroke. Of course, I would prefer not to have had the stroke, but I've learned patience I never had before. I've discovered the grace to accept help, which was always hard for me, and I've developed deeper empathy for others facing limitations. These aren't small lessons. This capacity to find meaning and growth, even in unwelcome circumstances, represents emotional and spiritual maturity that enhances resilience and life satisfaction. When you maintain genuine curiosity, embrace new challenges, integrate your experiences into wisdom, and grow through both joys and difficulties after 70, you demonstrate the human capacity for development throughout the entire lifespan. This continuous evolution represents winning at life in a profound and inspiring way. 6. Finding peace with regrets, the integration of life experience. By the time we reached 70, we've all accumulated regrets, roads not taken, mistakes made, opportunities missed, and relationships we wish we had handled differently. How we relate to these regrets profoundly impacts our well-being and capacity to find meaning in our later years. Beyond denial or rumination. There are two common but ultimately unhelpful ways people deal with regrets. Some attempt to deny their regrets, insisting they have no remorse because everything happens for a reason or it all worked out in the end. Others become trapped in rumination, revisiting past mistakes repeatedly without resolution or growth. Those who thrive after 70 take a more nuanced approach. They acknowledge their regrets fully without being defined by them. They extract learning from painful experiences without getting stuck in self-recrimination. This balanced perspective represents emotional maturity that often deepens with age. Life review as integration. Developmental psychologists have identified life review as an important psychological task of later life. This process involves examining the full arc of your experiences, achievements and failures, joys and sorrows, and working toward a coherent narrative that acknowledges both the light and shadow in your journey. Dr. Robert Butler, who pioneered research on life review, noted that this process isn't merely reminiscing, but an active psychological work that can lead to resolution of long-standing conflicts, reconciliation with your life choices, revision of negative judgments about yourself, recognition of themes and patterns in your life story, reframing of painful experiences within a larger context, renewal of appreciation for the positive aspects of your journey. This integration process doesn't eliminate regrets, but transforms your relationship with them, reducing their emotional charge and incorporating them into a meaningful life story. Making amends and finding closure. Part of coming to peace with regrets involves taking what constructive action remains possible. For relationship regrets, this might mean making sincere apologies for past harms, expressing previously unsaid appreciations, reaching out to rebuild damaged connections, writing letters, sent or unsent, to process unresolved feelings, practicing forgiveness toward others and yourself for regrets about paths not taken. It might involve finding ways to incorporate neglected interests into your current life, mentoring others who are pursuing dreams you didn't follow, contributing to causes that represent your deeper values, creating symbolic rituals of acknowledgement and release. Consider Margaret, 76, who regretted prioritizing her career over time with her children. I can't get those years back, she acknowledges, but I've had honest conversations with my adult children about my regrets. I'm now an extremely present grandmother, and I've started a college fund for disadvantaged students in my community as a way of extending my care beyond my own family. The regret hasn't disappeared, but it's become a teacher rather than just a source of pain. The gift of perspective. One of the gifts of reaching 70 is the perspective that comes with witnessing the full consequences of choices made decades earlier. This longitudinal view often softens harsh self-judgments as you recognize how circumstances and limited information influenced your choices, how apparent mistakes sometimes led to unexpected positive developments, how common your struggles have been among your generation, how you did the best you could with the consciousness you had at the time. This perspective doesn't excuse harmful choices, but places them in a context that allows for self-compassion alongside accountability. Legacy work. Coming to peace with regrets connects deeply with considerations of legacy, what you'll leave behind, and how you'll be remembered. Those thriving after 70 often engage in what psychologists call generativity, contributing to future generations and causes that will outlive them. This might involve documenting family stories and wisdom for future generations, mentoring younger people in your field or community, contributing time or resources to causes aligned with your values, creating artwork, writing, or other creative expressions that capture your perspective, living in alignment with your deepest values to model integrity for others. These generative activities create meaning that transcends individual regrets, placing your life story within a larger human context. The wisdom of acceptance. Perhaps the most profound piece comes from accepting the full reality of your life, including its imperfections, limitations, and regrets. This acceptance isn't resignation, but a clear-eyed embrace of your humanity. As philosopher and psychologist William James noted, acceptance of what has happened is the first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. Meaningful forms. Conclusion. Integrating the 6 signs. As we reflect on these 6 signs of thriving after 70, maintaining physical activity, preserving mental sharpness, nurturing meaningful relationships, maintaining purpose, embracing continuous growth, and finding peace with regrets, it's important to recognize that they aren't isolated from each other, but deeply interconnected. Physical activity enhances cognitive function. Strong relationships provide purpose and meaning. Learning new skills creates opportunities for social connection. Finding peace with regrets frees energy for creative pursuits. Each dimension supports and amplifies the others in a virtuous cycle of well-being. These signs also aren't binary achievements, but continuous processes. No one perfectly embodies all 6 dimensions all the time. Rather, they represent orientations and practices that enhance life quality when consistently pursued. The beauty of these signs is that they remain relevant regardless of external circumstances or limitations. Even with health challenges, financial constraints, or other difficulties, these approaches to life can enhance well-being and create meaning. What's particularly striking is how these indicators of thriving in later life align with what research shows contributes to well-being at any age. The practices that help us win at life after 70 are largely the same ones that enhance life in our 40s, 50s, or 60s. The difference is that their importance becomes more evident and their impact more profound as we age. This perspective invites us to reconsider how we view aging in our youth-obsessed culture. Rather than seeing later life as primarily characterized by loss and decline, we can recognize it as an opportunity for integration, wisdom, and continued growth. A time when the practices and perspectives that truly matter come into sharper focus. Whether you're currently in your 70s or decades away, these 6 signs offer a roadmap not just for aging well, but for living well at any stage. They remind us that winning at life isn't about external markers of success, but about cultivating the internal resources and connections that make life meaningful from beginning to end. I hope this exploration has offered both practical guidance and inspirational possibilities. Whatever your age, I invite you to consider how these 6 dimensions might enhance your own journey toward a life well lived. Thank you for joining me in this reflection on what it means to truly thrive in our later years. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with these 6 signs in the comments below. What would you add to this list? Which dimension resonates most strongly with your experience? If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing and sharing with others who might benefit. Here's to winning at life at every age. Thank you, and see you in the next video.